Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is March 19th. It is Friday. Happy Friday to all you folks, and thank you for taking part of your day to join us. Joined alongside the best hair in crypto, Ryan, soon to be an NFT Gorman. I got CJ and Monty from MarketRebellion.com. Today's going to be an exciting episode. We're going to hit the big boards, and after that, we're going to go over a trade that CJ and I worked on and picked yesterday over on Digital Asset News Channel, Trinity Trading. And just gloat in our own success a little bit for that one, as well as we're going to cover. I'm looking at CJ. As well as we're going to go over one that we can't ignore, and that's Stormx, Stmx, because on the overnight it did have some ridiculous price action to the upside, but it's also justified by some news that we're going to go over with you guys. And then after that, we got our very own in-house NFT newly minted expert, Ryan the Believer Gorman, who is going to who did his monthly column with our friend James Bowater over at Crypto AM's and City AM's London newspaper, and he's going to go over that. And it was a great article, great read. So Ryan, off to you, my man.
Absolutely. So that article, so everyone knows, may have been a mea culpa. I may have been wrong. Anyway, this is a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain is strictly for educational, informational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice, and you should not listen to any of the faces you see talking on the screen during this show. Ever. Do not do it. Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global 24/7 community of traders of all ages, all abilities, all skill and knowledge levels, all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market and trade like a crypto insider. If you haven't yet checked out Trade the Chain, go to TradeTheChain.com for a 14-day trial. How's that coffee working out, CJ?
Not enough. Let's look at the dash today. All right, very bullish, very bullish.
Yeah,
I like it.
Green.
I like it. It'll be interesting to see how the traditional markets are doing today as we pan over to those. But going over to marketrebellion.com/crypto, this is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion. And with us, you get exclusive access to our trade ideas once or multiple times per week. You also get access to our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. And you can start your first month trial for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/crypto. Definitely check out this page. It's only $1 to join. We got an incredibly large group of very intelligent members and very insightful traders in there. So please do check that out at marketrebellion.com/crypto here. But gents, any opening thoughts?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Thank God. Thank God.
CJ now pauses between the plug and the big board because he knows half the time we interrupt him.
But getting on, traditional markets, NASDAQ up, S&P up, Dow relatively flat, VIX down 4%, always good to see that. Dollar index showing a little bit of weakness, always good to see that when we're evaluating Bitcoin. But starting here on the one-day chart, I'm going to start with the one-day and then go back into the 4-hour. But looking here, typically after we reach these nines on sequential, we'll go through something like a mild to bearish correction of a 1 to 4 candle correction of the opposite color. Then that's how you create the countdown 13 and start the new setup sequential phase with the price flip to the green one here. So we're doing a nice job forming support. Like I mentioned yesterday, 2 very nice bullish hammer candles coming off of the recent support level at 54K. We got a green one. Still some declining volume here on Friday as we go into the weekend, but I got to say, I'm expecting a pretty bullish weekend. I still expect price to go up despite the fact that we're having some low volume here. I think the strength in the equity markets and the kind of the lowering or at least the calming down of the increase in the TNX, the 10-year treasury yield, has allowed the stock market and Bitcoin to rally a lot today. And as you can see here, check out where we were last cycle. Actually, not last cycle, but last run-up. We broke above here very strong and then trended above the top Bollinger Band all throughout the way. Then when we, of course, deep flush down, that's when the trend kind of ends. We have to take the time for the bulls and new buyers to come back in to create a new higher low for the overall macro trend. But now that we've flush broken above that middle Bollinger Band, we have the opportunity to begin trending upward like this as we go further on into the bullish cycle. So the fact that we're above that top Bollinger Band is really nice to see. And I think we're going to remain pretty bullish here based on the technicals going into the weekend. But curious to hear your thoughts.
Do you, sorry, Monty, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Do you think that some of this upside is being fueled by the approval today of another Bitcoin ETF, this one in Brazil? So that makes 4 now total in the Americas, right? You have the 3 in Canada and the 1 in Brazil. And Brazil isn't necessarily the world's largest equities market or largest financial hub, but it's a sizable market. It's not something to ignore. And there's a lot of demand for Bitcoin in South America, especially in Brazil and Venezuela. So, I mean, it feels to me like some of this upside optimism is being fueled by that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ryan. And I think that's a great point too. CJ and I wrote an article a while ago about the untapped potential of the South American crypto market. And I think that kind of just reiterates the point that we really are still in the very early stages of global adoption for Bitcoin. And like you said, Brazil has a massive population and a massive demand for Bitcoin. They are almost perfectly suited for the utility of Bitcoin. So yeah, it's an encouraging sign that it's kind of opening up to South America. And I think this is just the beginning. And that's a great example of it. But CJ, you made some great arguments for the macro perspective. I just want to quickly give my weekend outlook, just like what I think price could do this weekend. And we always talk about how the weekend order books can be pretty thin and we get some volatility. CJ even just mentioned we're seeing a little bit of a drop off in volume already on Friday. But I think that could lead to some good volatility this weekend because the technicals are looking very strong. So one thing that we always look for is kind of the series of higher lows. It's putting in very strong higher lows at 54 and then 57. So now we got this previous all-time high, which is acting as resistance. But I think that this weekend, we're going to break above this, possibly hit even 64K and begin consolidating above our previous all-time high of 61K. Just because the technicals are well postured, as well as positive sentiment, like you guys just pointed out with the whole South American ETF. And also CJ and I briefly talked about Morgan Stanley and a rumor that they are thinking about buying a major Korean crypto exchange. So there's lots of reason to be positive. And I think that positive speculation is going to really manifest itself in some bullish price action for Bitcoin this weekend.
Wow, that's it. Monty calling 64K for the weekend, folks. Hang on to those honey holes.
Another bullish development, Robinhood apparently is putting out a crypto wallet. I'm wondering, right, if
they're letting you hold your own crypto?
Not anytime soon. At some point this year. It's in development, I think, now, and they're bolstering their crypto team, as the CEO put it, hugely. Okay. So
does that really matter though for the people, for Robinhood clients? Like,
yes, yes. I'll tell you why it does, and I think this is why I think it'll lead to increased adoption. The knock on Robinhood has always been that you're not actually holding the crypto, and you can't transfer it out. Use some of it on Uniswap. That's why I stopped using Robinhood. I was trading crypto on. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Right? I may as well just go to Voyager or another brokerage that lets me hold the crypto and trade and transfer it out to Uniswap and then bring it back in, or lets me transfer my Uniswap assets into the wallet, right? And ultimately, if people can use the same app that they're using for stock trading to actually self-custody their own crypto assets, I really do genuinely think that could be what propels us to those Bitcoin highs, the higher end of the price predictions that you guys gave, earlier this month. I was always of the mind that we'd stay at the lower end of it if it was just fueled by news cycles and institutional adoption. But let's say Robinhood brings that crypto wallet online Q3. They haven't given a timeline, but let's say they do. I can see that pushing those prices up where you guys thought towards the higher end of it.
Robinhood couldn't push a pebble up a hill right now, as far as I'm concerned.
You'd be surprised how fast people forget. They have short memories.
Wall Street bets. I'll say it every day on this show so people don't forget. What I will say is I would rather, Ryan, that be the opposite. Rather than Robinhood get a wallet, I'd like to see Voyager be able to trade stocks.
I would too. That would be great.
Way better.
It would be way better. And that way they'd be competing on equal footing with an eToro, who they're introducing stocks in Q2 or Q3. They've already been approved by FINRA, and they already have crypto in the US.
Voyager's going to get stocks before Robinhood gets a wallet. I'm calling that right here, right now. 149.
One piece of insight is that eToro was approved last year, and it took them at least 6-7 months to be able to implement that. So I don't know. I think that's a bold prediction.
I think the custodial angle is going to be way more complicated for Robinhood than people think. It's not an easy thing to jump into. I think it's easier for Voyager to integrate equities trading into the app than it is for Robinhood to calculate liability, build infrastructure, and do all that stuff.
Why not just partner with a fire?
Well, then go ahead, do it, and we'll see them have it next week.
Why not just partner with a Fireblocks or even a Curve? It's not that hard.
What I derived from that news article is that they were growing their crypto team and they're building it. If you came out, you said, yes, they're partnering up with Fireblocks so people can have their own wallet via partnership, and we wouldn't have gone down that road. But
that's fair. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I'm just saying if they decide if they are building it and they decide, wait, this is too complicated, why are we doing this? They have the funds to just turn around and partner with Fireblocks. It's not difficult.
I know. Listen, I just want to get into a fight today. I don't know why.
Not hard with Ryan.
That's because I know my audience, and my audience loves when I disagree with them.
Are you sure you know your audience, Ryan?
I don't know. I mean, they love seeing me admit when I'm wrong, and I devoted an entire column to that today in City AM. So Crypto AM, City AM, it's one of the most read newspapers in London for financial news. And I have a monthly column there where I can write about pretty much whatever I want. I have carte blanche. And I decided that I was going to figure out NFTs to the best of my ability anyway. So I did a lot of homework. I did a lot of research after I was ridiculed by CJ and Monty and by our viewers and listeners. And I decided that I was wrong. I'm okay with being wrong. I'm not too big to admit when I'm wrong. And, there is a lot of value and there's a lot of utility. And I think, long term, I don't know that an NFT is ever going to sell again for the price of a Picasso, right? One of Picasso's most famous paintings sold for $69 million a few years ago. And that was the third largest ever art sale in Europe. So there's nothing to say that these high prices are going to sustain forever, but there is real value. There is real utility. And if people can sell sports tickets on secondary exchanges like Viagogo and StubHub, why can't teams sell NFTs that enable like special experiences or unique experiences? That's what millennials value most. They don't care about physical possessions. They care about experiences. And you can sell experiences through NFTs, whether you're a band, an artist, a sports team, what have you. And ultimately, I was wrong. And all credit to CJ and Monty for helping me see the light. And I encourage you to read the article because I'm not going to read all 1,200 words on air, but I'm happy I was wrong.
You're a big man, Ryan. Takes a big man to change his mind like that, but that's really well written and stuff. Yeah, I encourage you guys to check out the article because if Ryan can become a believer, I think anyone can.
And folks, if you didn't catch the Ryan versus Monty SmackDown 2020, it happened a few episodes back, and it is worth just revisiting.
Actually, Alex, I linked to it at the end. I linked to it saying, I quote CJ and link to that episode at the end so everyone can see me making a fool out of myself. I mean, they're watching me make a fool out of myself right now, but so they can see me do it again here.
My favorite line during this episode was from Monty when he said, "Ryan, that's exactly where you went wrong. You trust someone."
And then, and you know,
like finance, yeah.
I started considering why he said that, because, you know, you have to really annoy someone or piss them off or just be flat out wrong. And I went down with the ship that day because I did. And then I started thinking about it. And between that and between CJ telling me this is bigger than all of us, man, I thought, which is another great line. I thought maybe I should reconsider my position.
Well, I look forward to reading your rebuttal on MicroStrategy.
I'll bite my tongue.
Moving on. Wait, no, go back. You're ahead of the schedule, but reverse. Stop sharing.
A well-oiled machine. The Trade the Chain show is.
Already jumped the schedule with the City AM article. Okay, that was supposed to happen at the end.
Monty and CJ just wanted to hear that they were right and I was wrong. I don't blame them. I'd want to hear it too.
All right, moving on to our to one that. Okay, so here's what happens. Every week, and myself, we go on Rob's channel over at Digital Asset News, and we select a ticker that we're going to invest in. So I use sentiment trading, and CJ then takes over and looks for affirmation with his technical analysis. And we see if we come to terms after Rob reviews the fundamentals, like the story behind the project. If all equals out and everybody agrees, a purchase of that crypto is made. So yesterday, I decided to take a look at Harmoney. I liked what I was seeing on the sentiment dashboards, and obviously, as of today, I still really like what I see on the sentiment dashboards. And then once I had gone through these data points, and folks, please watch the episode, it'll be down in the description below. I then handed it off to CJ, and CJ went and looked at the chart. Now, one of the things that was interesting about this trade and why we're covering it today, because CJ and I had such a great pick yesterday with Rob, is that right around this time here is where we made our call. And you can see there's a very bullish candle that went quite high, and then over to a red doji, and then another bullish candle up. Now, when I had gone through the sentiment data here, and we called this at 80, where'd we make this trade at? 80 cents, CJ?
It was over 9 cents because it was really pumping while we were doing the episode.
Oh, yeah.
It actually had sufficient momentum to go all the way up to 12.
And one of the things that when CJ was going through the TA on this is that he said, listen, I'm really, I like this bullish candle we have going now. I think the momentum is great. I think, though, we're going to go and we're going to hit some resistance, though, around the 98-cent mark. And lo and behold, it went up, and exactly where CJ had called that, it hit its resistance level. And we retraced a little bit. But what it did do after that is it continued to go up, and up it did. And we are currently sitting at 12, yeah, a little over 12 cents right now, up from our mid 80-ish call on that. It was remarkable, that trade. I'm glad we got it on the short term.
In retrospect, I want to add one aspect to the chart. Could you bring that one back up, please?
I can indeed, sir.
Just want to point out the volume increase on that one candle. Yeah, right there. So when you see a massive buyer come in like that and buy a large portion of the order book, we've seen things like that happen in VGX. We've seen it coming in at the start of rallies with things like Stormx. But as you can see, the volume is just immense following that one candle. And so when you see that, that's a pretty good indication that, something's going on here. Somebody's looking at it. So that volume increase with a break above resistance is always something I really look for. John was talking a lot about that in the daily crypto bite this morning as well.
I mean, this was a fantastic trade that we selected here, CJ, and you guys can go over to Rob's channel and watch his weekly called Trading Trinity or Trinity Trading. Sorry about bastardizing that, Rob. Where we do these picks. Yesterday we actually did two, and the second one was Stormx, I believe. But I'm gonna let CJ run through the Stormx trade and why the signals and chart look good on that one yesterday.
That's a hell of a trade, Stormx.
Listen, I'll tell you right now, the two trades we picked yesterday on Trinity Trading, we hammered them out of the park. It was awesome.
Okay, if the trades were that good, Alex, get yourself a real bathrobe, man, or some type of kimono, because that was pretty rough yesterday. But
wait, hold on, CJ. Can I just show the bathrobe pick before you jump in? All right. So if you don't know what he's talking about, we wear a little garb for this episode. As you can see, you have CJ there in his Chanel, Caesar's Palace kimono. You have Rob, who now ordered his Amazon $5 kimono, and then me. I had nothing except like a 7-year-old dirty brown bathrobe, and that's what I wore. I apologize.
Yikes! Got to up your bathrobe game, man.
Sorry, I brought it up. Okay, moving back to Stormx. They're doing some big stuff. Namely, let's find the post. There's one specifically with Walmart that I will get to. Here's a really interesting one. You can earn up to $20 cash back with ESPN Plus through the Stormx app. That's really cool. You can tell, Ryan was saying this as well, they were really stepping up their game here in the last couple of days. Here's that tweet talking about Walmart purchases, up to 2.8% crypto cash back. So really awesome stuff to see that these fundamentals are materializing. Simon's getting these partnerships with important brands, and they're bringing on users. So really,
I love that first response to the tweet too.
Oh, hey, that's my boy, the GLM rocket ship I was just talking about.
That's
Nice.
my friend. I know that. He follows me. Look.
Yeah, CJ, that's the kind of.
I
I was
know
talking about it before the show. I asked if it was you.
Another important thing about Stormx that Alex was talking about before the show, you can get your crypto cash back in a number of different cryptocurrencies, right? It's not just Stormx. You can get it in Bitcoin, ETH. What are the coins again, Alex? I forget. I just take it back in Stormx, to be honest, because you can get it back in Stormx, right? It goes up. It's going up in value so much that what I've bought with Stormx, the cash back, it's already paid for. It was free.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it back in, if you got it in Stormx, for instance, you actually are ahead of the game, right? I mean, CJ, what was that example you gave at the beginning of the show when we were chatting?
About
Stormx
buying stuff.
Well, think about it, right? If you bought something, Stormx has done a 500% price increase this week. Yeah. This week in 5 days. So if you bought something on Sunday and got 15% Stormx back, today, 80% of the value of the item you bought has been already paid for by that 15%.
Exactly. So like that 50th pair of Adidas sneakers that I wanted that my wife is going to beat me with probably, I got them for free so she can't be upset. I mean, ultimately with the cash back and the appreciation of the Stormx tokens.
CJ, would you mind going over the chart with us?
Nothing's free, Ryan. There's always a price. Stormx is really, really extended. This thing really hasn't shown any signs of weakness as I go through the charts here.
By the way, check out the volume too.
Yeah, that's another point that I will bring up here. Just let me share. And this is a pretty common theme that we've seen in VGX and now that we saw in Stormx, but you can see nothing's really happening throughout all of this time. No one even really knows Stormx exists or was even paying attention to it at this point. But now you see that massive increase in volume come through And this is probably, you know, one or a very small amount of entities that are coming in to buy up this order book. And whoever bought on this 8 candle is likely still in and is holding now, but is going to look to take profits up at you know, the 5 cent level potentially, or some of these higher levels. It was very similar to how a lot of people got in on VGX at like $1, $2, and then really took profit once we got to $6 and $7. So I think something similar will happen in Stormx, whether it takes, you know, a couple more weeks or whatever. I do think we will top eventually, but as of now, it's showing no signs of weakness other than the declining volume here, but still very bullish. We just had a listing on, I believe it was Upbit.
Yeah.
So that was a significant price catalyst for Stormx as well, but no signs of weakness or stopping yet. So like, this is the way I look at it. Like, if I had no exposure to Stormx, the higher up it goes, the more risk there becomes for an entry of a long trade. But that being said, there's just no signs of weakness yet.
So looking at the technicals, if you were to say, this is my exit plan, like just for the short term based on the volatility, if you were to get in now, where do you think the upside would be capped at, roughly?
That's a good question. I want to see how far we are off from our recent highs. Looks like we're off only about 6% or 5% from those recent highs. So if we re-break those highs above $5, 5 cents.
If Stormx is at $5, we'd
I
all
like
be having a very
$5.
different discussion.
I see the number and it automatically goes to dollars. Alex was saying it earlier too when we were talking about Harmoney, but it's at 5 cents or just 55. Let's say it goes up to, I see like anywhere from like 6 cents to 9 cents in the interim. Typically, like how VGX topped around $6 or $7 in the interim.
Okay.
I think an interim top of Stormx could be around anywhere from the 9 to like 6 cents range.
And what do you think that pullback might look like, if you had to guess?
Well, 30% at least. If we go up more than 300 or 400% on Stormx, I think we've already gone up at least over 200 or 300%. But when you compare it with an asset like VGX or like Chainlink, when we see these increases of upwards of 500 or 600 or even 1,000%, which is what VGX did, typically you're going to see at least 30 to 60% pullbacks for a resuming of that bullish trend. So we're probably going to get a better chance to buy it in the coming weeks, but still there's no weakness yet.
We're up 410% over the past 30 days.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
I love it every day. I love it until I don't love it. All right, very cool. So we got a couple things we're gonna do. One is I will say that Pat Ackerman will be live streaming with us tomorrow. I'm actually let me look here. I didn't even put it into the calendar yet, but yes, here we go. So tomorrow at noon Eastern time, we'll be live streaming with Pat Ackerman and going over his latest article that he put out for Voyager and what that means in the coming months, as well as the short term until that much anticipated token swap happens in approximately 6 weeks. So we'll have him live streaming tomorrow at noon Eastern time. And then Sunday, we are going to put out a special episode. CJ is going to join me for Robinhood Reveal. And the genesis for this show is basically the Sunday afternoon shows to give you guys entertainment on the weekend. But Also, about a year ago today, we went into lockdown from COVID-19, and I set up a Robinhood account from scratch. First time I ever used Robinhood. I laid out a portfolio with a certain amount of weight to each of those positions across the equities market, including stabled by a Bitcoin position. And yes, there is gold in there as well. So we're going to go over what has gone on in the 12 months since that account was open with those weighted positions. And I will tell you that nothing's been sold or bought since it opened. So it'll be interesting to get a return aspect on that.
It's all oil. It's all oil.
All oil.
I mean, that was a good time to get into oil. How low it was. I mean,
no, there's a story behind the oil position. CJ's right. There's a story behind the oil position the day after I created that account, thinking that COVID would only last till about August and everybody would get in the roads again and start flying again. I went in a pretty weighted position into the double levered WTI ETF. And it not only, and I didn't do any research, it not only split the next day, okay, and went boom, the value plummeted. And I literally, diamond hands, I lost 85% of this position in the first week I had it. And through the strength of diamond hands, I held on to that thing and I wrote it up, and you'll see where that position stands today. But that's also a catalyst for why this portfolio is a year old. Nothing but.
I mean, these paper hands wouldn't have been able to do that.
Ryan, you couldn't have lasted 60 days in this portfolio.
No, paper hands.
That'll
I
be
got
fun.
nothing.
That'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. Not Robinhood portfolio, but an equity portfolio reveal. But I will dabble on Robinhood from time to time. But I'm more excited for Pat because I don't want to misspeak here. I don't want to quote him on this, but I do believe he said that the price for VGX, according to his model, currently should be around $8 or $7. So it'll be interesting to ask him about kind of where he sees that. Does he see VGX as being undervalued at the current point? So stay tuned for all of that and more this weekend.
I mean, in fairness, I do believe it's undervalued, and that's kind of why I knock it. But that means it's a good value opportunity, right? And I'm interested to see what he has to say as well. And a shame I can't join that because I'd have a lot of fun poking, questioning Pat.
That's what we're going to find out, whether there's some deep value there. That, and then we'll, looks like Monty is becoming the new sweater boy of the show. So, but guys, it's Friday. Let's let you go. Hang on to your handlebars. Happy trading. Go ahead, Ryan. You had something to say?
I was going to say, you forgot Puerto Rico next week. Reminder that we're going to be in Puerto Rico.
Yes. Okay. Puerto Rico, the first official trade the chain market rebellion digital asset news meetup. It'll be Ryan and I will be sitting around a bar on the beaches of Puerto Rico next Saturday evening. We'll put out details. We have a couple of Trade the Chain members are going to be there. Rob's going to be there. CJ's already there. And if any of our Puerto Rican living viewers are down there, more than happy to come on by and say hi and check us out. And then also we'll give you more detail. It gets worse.
Too much.
Too much. Hashtag too much.
Sits on the beach in a sweater.
Oh my God. All right. We're just going to go with this. But guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you for Pat Ackerman's live stream with us, as well as Sunday for the portfolio reveal. Take it easy, folks.